Welcome back, everybody. This is Mike with Jealous Lawn Care, and today we're going to go through my whole yard for you guys, give you guys a full walkthrough for 2018. I did this last year. In case you missed that, I'll post a link to it below. You can see what's going on. I like to do this every year for you guys, just so you can see what's different from year to year, or if I'm walking around through my lawn, maybe you see something that you have a question on. So feel free to shoot something in the comments below. At the beginning of May, let's check out who's jealous of who, which neighbors. So I have not done any lawn striping yet, but it's about time for that first nice tall mow of the year, which will be done tomorrow morning because I got a party coming, so gotta time it just right. Looks like I have that nice dark emerald green on this side. You can see that difference in the line right there. So I got one side covered. Let's check to make sure I got the other side covered. Yep, you already see the line right there. So it looks like I got both sides covered pretty good. Now, however, I know you guys are noticing this. That's nice, right? They do everything professionally. They don't really do any work themselves. They spend $500+ a month in watering. They have landscapers, and then they have also True Green. So their lawn always looks pretty nice. And of course those stripes are pointed at me, so you know what I'll be doing tomorrow once I stripe for the Saturday. And we also have a big garage sale weekend in our neighborhood. Our whole subdivision is doing a garage sale, so that's the time that I really want the stripes to pop. So these stripes are faded a little bit. As I've talked about before in prior videos, as soon as you stripe, that obviously looks the best. And each day, especially if it rains, rain will actually make the stripes deteriorate quickly, so you won't see the striping effect as much. So once I mow my stripes, I'm going to mow them diagonally just to point right back at them. So fun battle of the neighbors, right? We all love it. Here's a close-up of the neighbor across the street from me's lawn, which has some nice stripes. You just can't tell from this side. I'll show you once we get to the other side how it looks. And they actually did checkerboard striping. And of course, by they, I do mean their lawn care company. And there's my lawn with the stripes pointed right at them. Then there comes my side of the lawn. So the question is, what can we do about the neighbor across the street who is lawn striping directly at me? That is the question. And you know what I say? I say he's gonna point his stripes at me, and I will do the same thing. Point my stripes right back at him. And this side also has stripes. You can tell pretty faintly. And the reason you can't tell too great is because the sun is right there. So again, if you're looking inside of the sun, then you will not see any stripes. But when the sun is behind you, like this isn't even fully behind me, so these stripes will even look better in a few hours when I actually have a party later on today. So when everybody pulls up to my house, they will see the stripes pointed at them from this side. And then again, just in case they miss that side, maybe they get out of the car from this side, they'll also see the stripes. So here you can definitely tell where my lawn ends and where my neighbor's lawn starts, right? Now let me tell from the other side, just to show you that what the Kentucky bluegrass should look like with the bluish green or emerald green tint to it. And this is what I'm talking about. See, from this side you don't see any stripes really. So this is that bluish green tint on it, which of course we can all thank Milorganite for. Gotta love Milorganite, my favorite fertilizer. And this is the first, or I should say second mowing of the season, and you already have that nice differentiation line, or I like to call it jealousy line. And actually this side you can actually see stripes. So this basically shows you that the sun is pretty much right above us, since you could see it from both sides. Alright, so without further ado, let's start the walkthrough. So as you could tell, I just did my first striping for the year. It's the new Toro lawn striper, and I love that thing. It worked really great. You can tell how nice and dark these stripes are. And all the lawn is mostly out of dormancy, but there's still a little bit that is not out of dormancy yet, so it will look even better come late spring. This is still middle of the spring. I got the sideways stripes going here, diagonals here, and stripes going here, diagonal also. You can't really see this as well because the sun, we're kind of looking into the sun at this angle, so you'll be able to see this. Again, I like to mow my stripes so that I make the neighbors all jealous while they're driving on the street. So I like to point them right at them. That's a very important factor as far as lawn striping, as far as where the sun actually is. So my sun hits the street around 3 to 5 o'clock at night, which is a great time. So that's when everybody's getting off of work. After 5 o'clock, that's the best time to see my lawn stripes. And that's the reason I cut them facing that direction. If I mowed them sideways, the sun will be behind me, and the sun will be actually right there. So if I mowed sideways, you could see them, but you won't be able to see them at the end of the day. So there's multiple things that you can do in order to show off your lawn and make all your neighbors jealous. First, of course, is the striping. Your striping can be good or bad depending on the sun. But one thing that is always great is your edging. So please make sure that you do the full extreme. So please make sure you do the full lawn care and actually care about it. So don't just mow your lawn. Very important. Mow and also do the last step, which is the most important part in my opinion. Almost above the lawn striping, because it makes that big of a difference. It's making these nice, tight, trimmed edge lines. You can totally tell where my lawn ends, and then that's where the neighbor's lawn begins. So having nice, tight edge lines will definitely make sure that you stand out among the neighbors, even if you don't have the stripes. As you're doing proper edging, please make sure that you don't have a gap this big. That's just too much. Other side's not too bad, other than they got a bunch of crabgrass, you could tell. So one other thing I also did this year is I redid all my mulch. So you can see all my nice new mulch rings. Mulch rings here, new mulch ring over there. So that was definitely one thing I like to do. I like to do that every few years. Take it all the way down to the base layer, remove all that old stuff so you're not volcano mulching. So in case you missed that, there's a video down below in the description. And trees are nice, coming in nice for the year. And I don't really have any issues in the front here. Everything looks good in the front lawn. These bushes are actually coming in. We planted these last year. And these are all hydrangeas. So you can see that this is just starting to come in. It's getting some green. These are getting a lot of green stuff coming in here. And this is one of my favorite things. This is grass, but I think they call it like perennial grass that grows up over and over year after year. All you do is chop it real low at the end of the season or in the springtime, and then it basically, so you can see this green piece right here, green pieces all around. It'll grow up and you won't even see this brown patches anymore. So this will look great. I also have it right over there, big patch of it, looks great. This, I'm not really sure. I know it's going to come up again because I see little, real little tiny green things on the bottom, but I know all these are dead from last year, but don't really care about that. I got to read as far as what's the best way to maintain these. These are basically those they hang like little balls. So not the most attractive thing, so we might get rid of this because it looks ugly until it's actually blooming. And when it is even blooming, it's still, I mean, they're all
all the branches, they basically hang. It doesn't grow up. It grows kind of like, not vines, but they lay on the ground kind of thing. But they do look nice. And you can change the color of them based upon your pH level in your ground. So you can do additives to make them like purple or white or blue. You can change your colors based upon that. So I also redid the mulch around here. So mulch is a very simple way in order to get some quick curb appeal. Love that strapping view. Makes me feel like I'm on a golf course. Does anybody else feel the same way? And I also love to mow in different directions every single time. You'll see that I have videos based upon striping in many different directions. Up and down, horizontal, vertically, circular. I have diagonal shapes, which is what you see here, diagonal. And I also have checkerboard stripes. So very important to mow at all different directions for many reasons. Main one just being so you don't want your grass to lay in the same direction all the time consistently. It just makes the grass look dull, and it also gives your neighbors better curb appeal, we'll say. Make them more jealous, so they see different shaping each time you do it. All right. So here you can see the stripes from the other direction that you couldn't tell because the sun is basically right above us. So you can tell from this direction, but not the other. And it's kind of hard to tell here. Can you see how weak and light this grass is? So I did a video last fall on what caused this issue. It's basically this whole patch all the way up until the end of this tree. And the reason this happened isn't to have anything to do with this tree. It's because my neighbor just got their roofing and their siding replaced at the end of last fall, and it was late in the fall. And what happened was basically they laid down, the roofers, they laid down a big tarp on the ground when the ground was right around that frost borderline, and there was a tarp there for a day or two. And because of that, trampling on the tarp and the tarp in general, being on the grass for that long, so the grass didn't have any sunlight, basically it killed a lot of the grass. This grass was all as plush as the rest, but now you can see it's very, very thin. All this spot very, very thin. And I basically did some seeding just recently, but it's going to take some time to go in. And when I actually seeded, I forgot that I already put down my weed and feed, so I probably won't even come up. So I might just wait for it and do it in the fall. Again, it's my neighbor's property, but I'm just trying to help out because neither one of us want to have that eyesore. And then we go to the backyard, and again, just like last year, I mentioned that this grass is just stupid to have, so I'm going to rip out all this. It's one of my next projects. I doubt I'll get to it in 2018, so this will probably be on my 2019 video also, just for expense purposes. We just had a second kid this past November, so that took precedence as far as from the money tree. So basically my idea is to rip out all this grass here because it's very hard to grow grass here. I mean, I ripped it all out, I reseeded and everything, watered it. If you watered, fine, but if you don't water it, I mean, this is the hottest place to grow grass because of the fact that you're in between two sections of concrete, and that's just not smart. I mean, in my opinion, it should be either lava rocks or, you know, something down there. So basically we're just going to rip out all this because I also have, you can tell I got unlevel patio pavers here. So, and some of them are broken. This is original. This is, you know, almost 20 years old. So I'm just going to rip out all this because, you know, grass loves growing all these, and it's just not worth the pain. You know, I probably spend more on Roundup killing all that or burning it out than I do with actually, I probably spend more on that stuff than I do if I were to just change it out to patio stones, like large pavers, like 18-inch pavers, which is what I'm looking to buy. Or ideally, I'm still pricing it out, but to basically do concrete for this whole section and then get rid of this grass, go all the way up to the wall, and then do the same thing here. And this is an ugly eyesore now. It's basically where I dug this out 2 years ago or so. This is grass, and the reason I let this go is because of the fact that this is where all the leaves pile up for the year. you could be you could be as on top of this as you can be, but because of the wind and because of that corner, all the leaves just pile up and pile up. I mean, it's usually at least halfway up there, you know, just from one tree falling. So definitely want to get rid of that. And the main reason I dug this out is because of the fact that my in-laws were here a couple of years ago from China, and we ripped this out so they can do some vegetable garden, because they love the garden out there. They don't have as much opportunity as we do, because in China the ground is basically all paved, so there's very little grass unless you go to like a public area, you know, because they got so many people. So that's one thing. And there's nothing really else going on in the back. So when it's in the front, you saw the double stripe method that I do. In the back, I only do a single stripe just because I'm lazy. Or is it because I like to see a little difference in the lawn? I'll let you be the judge. But one thing I got going on is I do have a patch, a little circular patch here of POA annua, and I was lazy, didn't apply it in the fall, the pre-emergent. So you're going to see a video on that and how to get rid of that pretty soon. All right. So let me show you real quick. This is the culprit right there. POA annua. Looks just like grass, and it is actually a grass. But then once it breaks apart, you'll see this POA annua and all the seeds come off. Not good. So what I did was, on this past mowing, I bagged this, because you definitely do not want this to be chopped up and mulched in your lawnmower. Reason being is because these are all seeds on top. You cut that up, and that's just going to go right back into the lawn, create more of these issues. But, you know, you can argue that this is a big issue, or you can argue that this is not a big issue, because this only comes up basically end of spring, middle of spring, right when it heats up. You know, right now it's like around 70, 80 degrees, so this is around that time. But then it'll go away on its own, so it won't be there all summer. It's only there for a few weeks out of the year, so it's not that big of a deal. So I got rid of this POA annua last year in a different spot, so I'll show you what I did and how well it worked. All right, and then this section, again, you can't really tell too much, but this is where the lawn heats up tremendously. It's probably, I would say, 15 degrees hotter at any point in the year. The reason being is because of the fact that the sun beats off of this corner, and the sun's over here a lot of the time of the year. So when the sun beats off of it, it creates like a, we'll say like a sweatshop, like a sauna, this whole area, and this whole section gets basically just really, really hot. So that's why this grass over here stopped growing. So I seeded this whole area, ripped it out, seeded, just to do a test, and sure enough, it was beautiful grass. I mean, it was as dark green as you could ever want and as thick. But then problem is, once I stopped watering, I mean, I watered it until, you know, month and a half easy. So it was definitely established grass. But then as soon as I stopped watering, it started to die pretty quickly because of the fact that it doesn't get the water, and it gets so hot all times of the year. So what I'm going to do back there, and also same thing with this little corner, anytime you get those little corners because of that vinyl siding, it's going to hurt that grass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out like a flower bed. I'm hoping to get to that this year, so hopefully you guys will see a video on that pretty soon. So see what my time allows and what's more important on my to-do list, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like heat tolerant shrubs over there. So I'll let you know once I get that going what that's going to be. And then another thing I would love to do, but I probably won't get to this year, is you could see this little trail right here. This used to be a paved walkway that the prior owners, the original owners, actually put in, and now it's recessed low. I mean, they did basically a piss poor job of redoing this and putting grass in there. So what I'm going to do is raise this ground up so it's no longer kind of trenched. You can tell from this angle, maybe a little better, you can see this hole goes all the way there, all the way back to the side, and it goes all the way to the patio there. So that's going to be a separate video on its own, so stay tuned for that, because that's going to be a lot of work, because we're not gonna just do top dressing for that. We're gonna be doing full extreme ripping out the ground, or maybe even not ripping out the ground, but at least I'm gonna be pouring down a ton of dirt. Basically, I'm gonna try and get as close to that window well cover top as I can without looking too stupid. Because right now it's the worst case because of the fact that it's on a pitch down. That's the worst thing. You never want to pitch towards your house. You can see the ground level is pitched down in towards the house, so that's just not smart. So I might take on the whole project and not just fix this little line or depression from the old pavers, is I might actually do this whole section and get it all a little more flat so that it's not aimed or pitched down towards the house. That'll be a big job because that's going to be a ton of dirt and a lot of seed. All right, so don't really have any other issues going on in the backyard. So this is the backyard with the single striped look. I like the double stripe better in my opinion. What do you guys think? Single or double stripe? In the backyard I usually like mowing circles, just because my wife's not as much of a fan with mowing circles. She's not a golfer. I am. Whenever I see those circles, it makes me think I'm putting to the green or chipping onto the green or something. So that's what I usually do in the backyard. Front, I usually don't do circles, although I did a few times, and I love it. This section back there, you'll see that basically I let this all go this year because every year this is always trouble, this area, because look at this. There's basically no sun, this whole area. This is the only time of the day where it gets sun. And it's only for a matter of, I think it's like 3 hours a day. So the rest of the time, this is all covered in shade. This whole section between this pines here and these pines over there. I mean, look at it. You got pines in every single direction. That's just tough to grow grass. And in my opinion, it's stupid to try. There's no reason to try. Every year I've had to water just this little section to keep it going. But this past year I said, hey, I'm done with that. I want to do some kind of mulch or lava rocks or white rocks or something. But you know what I'd love to do really is rip this all out and then do some kind of water feature, like a little fountain or a little river, maybe even a koi pond or something like that. But then the other side of me says, hey, that's going to look stupid or be a lot of maintenance because I'm going to have all these leaves and all the pine trees keep dropping stuff, branches and pine leaves. So I'm not sure that it would clog up the filter. That would look stupid in the water feature or whatever you do. Even if you do white rocks or something, I like the white rocks for a nice contrast. But unfortunately, that wouldn't be good because they wouldn't be white for very long. And rocks are not cheap. You know, mulch is pretty cheap, but not rocks. So basically what I'm thinking of doing is ripping out and basically drawing some kind of line from there all the way through to the other mulch section over there. And then just I'm gonna mulch probably that whole section. Maybe do a little bird feeder stuff because my wife no longer will allow me to do the bird feeders where I do over in these corners in the prior years. So because it's messing with her flowers. So creating too many weeds, too many thistle, too much of that stuff. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And then I'll give you guys a sneak preview. You see the stakes here? I ripped out this ground. Stay tuned. That's going to be a test. Here's another test. Stakes. So right now I'm working on a lot of things for you guys. I've got the garbage man working crazy, ripping out lots of ground, doing lots of projects. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. Don't miss any of these new videos and new tests that I'm doing. You guys loved the last mulch video test I did, proving the mulch theory. I know I'm not even going to link in the description below because I know that you guys have all checked that out already. This side, not much going on here. Another thing I will mention is, isn't that a lovely fence? Last year, you can see behind me, you can see all those white, I'm sorry, not white. So last year you can see all those fence posts that are different color. I changed the whole fence line in the back, all the fence posts last year, because of the fact that on Easter it blew over. So that's what I had to do. That was a fun Easter. This year I'm also going to change this post right there. See how it's been like this years after year, and you can tell that, see how the bottom of this just droops up? That looks so stupid, right? It's supposed to be level, but now you got the tops don't match, and the gate no longer closes, so it's been modified as much as it can. And time to change out that fence post. Alright, but that's going to be a big video, but thankfully the grass below it is not that great. And another reason why I didn't really care too much about this grass, because a lot of it's going to be ripped up when I rip up the ground for the fence post. Alright, unfortunately these are built in concrete, so it's going to take a lot of digging. It's going to be a video, so stay tuned in case, I'm sure everybody out there has a lot of fence posts that they need to secure. I mean, basically the reason is they get rotten from the bottom. You can tell how. So this project I will definitely be getting to, because it's one of the top ones on my priority, because the fence no longer closes. And since it is early in the year, we have not done our planting yet for the year. So one of the things also I'm doing is ripped out a lot of this dirt, because it's so full of clay that the flowers didn't really grow great last year. So what I'm going to do is rip out all this dirt at least 3 inches down, and then plant all new dirt. So like I said before, I'm ripping out a lot of stuff, and that garbage man loves me this year. I got probably 10 bags of dirt, 10 bags of grass from this section. I did all the new mulch this year. That was like 20 bags, so I've got a ton of bags in the garage. And then I'm going to rip out this section hopefully this year, putting in the shrubbery. So got a lot of things going this year. Hopefully the garbage man doesn't get too pissed off. So that's about it, everybody. Thanks for checking out my video. If you guys have any questions or comments on anything you've seen, leave some in the comments below. Alright, talk to you guys next time.